Are you on your 20th podcast binge or you've been watching like YouTube all day and then for some reason you're like, why can't I get the work done? I'm like learning about all these different things. But then again, when it comes to actually taking the action, it's just not happening. And what we have to realize is that this world is so distracting. And because it is so distracting, we love and it's we love to fill our time with just things that just make us feel good, whether it's like these dopamine hits of social media or whether it's just something that we want to think we're being productive about, but really we're just procrastinating. What's interesting is you look at the people who are really successful, those are the ones who are actually not on social media. And this is not going to be a social media, bit in terms of like why it's so bad for us, because I think there are things that about social media that are good, but we just have to learn how to control them. Like anything in life that is really anything in life, too much of it is going to be too bad and too little of it might not be good. So we just have to find that balance in terms of what it is we are going to do, because if we want to become self-disciplined in our lives, we are going to have to do certain things. Thank God, I think I'm one of those people who are a little bit self-disciplined. Of course, there are places where it's really difficult for me. So if I need to get my cookies at night, I will get my cookies at night. And maybe those are things that I'm going to need to work on. But for now, those aren't my focus. And that's not something that I want to be working on. And what we have to realize is that we have to try to start to work on our focus. And that is something that I think a lot of people don't realize. You see, on the one hand, we get so overwhelmed with everything that is going on in our lives, but because everything is so overwhelmed, we can't focus on any of it. I was recently speaking to somebody and she was telling me how she wants to be able to start this new program. And for some reason, she just can't get herself because there's so many other things going on, other big priorities that are going on in her life. And I get it. I totally get it. But what we have to start to do is that we have to start to get ourselves in the mindset that at a certain time in life, maybe it's in a week, maybe it's in months, maybe it's in years, we're going to take that jump. Because yes, it could be right now you are in a season of just busyness, chaos, just it's going nuts. Everything is just like flying and you're just trying to survive. But what we also have to realize is that it's not going to be like that forever. So once the storm starts to calm down, are we going to take advantage of it? For so many people, they don't realize that they can't take advantage of it because they're just not setting themselves up. And then they start to build these bad habits. I was recently speaking to another client of mine, and what we were talking about is we were strategizing how he can start to get up earlier. This is one of the things where he just can't get up, and not even earlier. He's like sleeps till like 10, 11 o'clock, and he doesn't like it. And he's in a new college right now. And because of that, it's extremely difficult for him to get up. And what we have to start to try to focus on is like, what is it we can start to do? How is it that we can start to put ourselves in the right position so we can get up, so we can just put ourselves in a positive light? Because, and I asked him like, why do you want to even get up early? He's like, well, my whole day is different when I get up at like 8 o'clock. And it's like 8 o'clock. That's, for a lot of people, that's very late. And while we have to realize for him, that's early, and it doesn't matter early or late, but 8 o'clock's for him. That's the time that he wants to get up. So let's try to get up at 8 o'clock. And we strategize around it, which hopefully I'll share with you some of the cool strategies in terms of waking up if that's something you want to be doing. But I think one of the areas that we have to start working on when it comes to our self-discipline is recognizing we're going to have to say no. People who are disciplined say no. They say no to the cookie. They say no to their snooze. They say no to watching Instagram. They say no to YouTube or listening to podcasts. And they say yes to taking action. They say, yes, I want to be in control. And it's one of the things that it's really magnificent about athletes, because athletes, at the end of the day, you can talk about how like sports is like just ridiculous and you're taking a ball and you're putting into a rim. Like, is that like exciting and this and that? And it's like, and it happens to be very entertaining, but there's a skill there. Whether you think it's a skill that's valid or not, there's a skill there, and there is focus there, and there is self-discipline there to become that good at something. And just like playing an instrument, if you want to become a phenomenal musician, you have to practice a lot. And if it's just one of those skills that just underline everything. And for so many of us, we want to cheat. We want to be able to cut the line and not do the work that is necessary. But because of that, we just keep falling off. And that's what happened with me when I was in my 20s. For so long, I was trying to find the shortcut. I kept saying like, no, there's an easier way. There's an easy way. There's an easy way. Until I realized like, no, I just have to be patient and take action. Like that's literally what you have to do. And then you look back and you're like, wow, I actually did it because guess what? I was patient about it. And it's something that is so powerful when it comes to the work that we want to be doing. What is it that you want to be successful in? What is it that you want to be doing? What is it you want to be accomplishing? It could be both professionally or personally. What are the relationships you want to be having? What is the health standard you want to be living to? And once we start to understand that, then we have certain goals that we can start to focus on. We can start to say no to other things. Right now, I'm in a season where there's three main focuses that I have, and these are the three focuses that I'm working on. And by me working on these three things, I'm saying no to other things. Like this, I recently had a celebration that I had to go to. And I was like, should I go? Should I not go? It's going to cut into my schedule and this and that. And I'm like, I decided to go because I thought it was really important. But there was like an after party that like people were invited to. And I'm like, no, I can't go to that. Like I did enough that I was supposed to do what I was supposed to do, but I have a responsibility right now. I am disciplined. I have to stay on target with what it is I'm looking to do. And because of that, I had to say no to certain things. So we have to start to figure out what is it we are saying no to, because by saying no to one thing, we are saying yes to something else. And we all know that everyone is trying to take our time. The marketing is $1 billion, trillion, I don't know, gazillion dollar industry. And all they're trying to do is just take your focus. So we have to realize that if we want to be the ones in charge, we have to be the ones who are focusing. And if we don't focus, then guess what? We're going to be giving our time to other people. We're going to be giving our time to YouTube. We're going to be giving our time to Instagram or to LinkedIn or to the news or to like what's happening in the world, which is like crazy these days. And what we have to realize is like, no, I want my time. I want to decide where I get it allocated. I want to be able to focus on what I want to be focusing on. And what's crazy is the more we can focus, the more we realize, oh, wow, I can actually do X, Y, and Z. And that's really cool, because then we have the ability to start to do things in a certain light. We start to see certain successes where we're like, wow, we're really doing this great. This is really powerful. So understanding how to say no is going to be the first massive action that we're going to have to learn. The second thing is we're going to have to start to set ourselves up. And this is something that I knew for me, it's 3 weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, depending on when you're listening to this. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I started a new goal. And this goal is I started to wake up a little bit earlier, and I changed my whole schedule around. And I realized that by me needing to do this new goal, I was going to have to prepare myself mentally, because like it's going to be tiring. It's going to be long. It's like a long run. It's like a 6-month goal right now. It's calling it a sprint. And what I realized is that I have to get myself focused on it. And I started like preparing myself like two months prior to my goal, saying, hey, by this point, I'm going to start doing X, Y, and Z. I think that's going to be the time I'm going to have a great few months of being able to take action, to do certain things, to have the things get lined up. And then I'm going to be able to focus on it. So therefore, I'm going to jump in right then and there. And it was so powerful, because the day that I set my goal for, that day that I circled on my calendar, I just jumped right into it, and I was able to transition so much easier. And for so many of us, we love to just be trigger happy, and we love to like, I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to do it. And then like you get your first bump in the road, and then you fall. And when you fall, you don't get back up because you're not prepared. You're not mentally prepared. You have to get ready. You can't just show up to like a sports game and just be ready to play. So you have to warm up. You have to get into the zone. And what we have to try to figure out is like, what is it we are doing? How is it that we're going to get into the zone for the things that we want to be doing? What is the discipline that we want? And also like, what do you want? Like you have to get clarity on that. This is probably the first part. Like if you don't get clarity in terms of the discipline that you want to be doing, then you're not going to be doing it. If you're not happy, somebody emailed me this week saying that they're not happy with their life because they're looking at everybody else, of course, like we all are, and she's really upset about that she can't focus on what she wants to be focusing on. She doesn't know what she wants to be doing, and like I think that not knowing what you want to be doing is the worst part. Because you have like zero direction. Should I do this? Should I do that? Like everything's a possibility. You don't want to make a mistake. Time is precious, and you want to be able to jump on the wheel, but for some reason you just can't get on because you don't know which wheel to get onto. And what we have to start to realize is like, what is it that we're going to be doing? How is it that we can get ourselves that clarity to be able to move forward? And the first thing I love telling this to people is like, but you just start moving. Because indecision, as Jim Rohn likes to say, is the thief of opportunity. It is the thief of opportunity. You are not going to be able to move forward by just staying still. And even if the next step is not the place that you need to be going, and it's a step after, or the 5 steps after that, we have to realize that if you are not taking action, you're stuck. You're just done. We have to try to figure out what is it that I can start to do right now to be able to get myself to be able to move forward in order to take the action that I want to be taking. Because by doing that, then I have the ability to start to really get things moving in my life. And then we could start to say, hey, you know what? How am I going to set myself up? When am I going to set myself up? How am I going to set my goals properly? I recently just made a video in terms of before goal setting, like how to set yourself up even before goal setting. Because a lot of people want to just start with the goal and move forward, but like there's a whole prep before that. And we have to get ourselves figured out with that. The next idea that I would really like to share is that we have to start to get rid of the negativity in our lives. And that could go with people. So there might be people in our lives who just suck out our energy. And if there are people who we can't really just leave, maybe it's a family member, a business partner, or something like that, how are we going to be dealing with that? Because it's not okay to just let it affect you. Like you have to deal with it. I have some podcasts on that also in terms of what it is you can start to do practically. Like there was somebody I was recently working with, and I just, every time I saw their name pop up on my phone, I was just like, I just get so anxious and so stressed out. And I realized that, okay, I can't go on like this. And I worked on this framework on how to get out of that. So I don't have to just freak out every time I see their name, because there's nothing I can do about it. So what we have to start to realize for ourselves is, what is it we are going to start to do? How is it that we can get into a place where we have this ability to be able to get away from the negative people, and also from the negative habits? There's certain things that you are doing right now that are holding you back from reaching your potential, reaching your success that you know you're capable of. You know that you shouldn't be going on Netflix after 10 p.m., after 9 p.m., because next thing you know, it's going to be 2 a.m., right? Yeah, 2 p.m. You'll be watching all night the next afternoon, right? So what we have to realize is we have to put ourselves in a position where we know what it is we're doing. How it is that we're going to get onto that track in terms of how we're going to be more productive. Because if we don't stay productive, if you don't look to take advantage of the things that we're looking to do, then it's not going to help us move forward. And it goes back to saying no. Like, what are we saying no to? I'm saying no to social media. I'm saying no to certain friends. Maybe during the weekends, I'm not going to hang out with them. Or during the week, I won't hang out with them. What is it we are going to do to set ourselves up for success? And it sounds simple, but at the end of the day, it's a decision we have to make. Everything we are doing is a decision. Whether you're thinking about it consciously or subconsciously, it's a decision. And if you're not going to make those decisions for you, then you're just going to continue in that normalcy of your life. You're just going to fall into what you've been doing forever already, and then you're not going to be able to change. So what is it that you're doing? How is it that you're going to start to change that in order to be able to make sure, hey, you know what? I'm going to start to do something about it. I'm going to start to change just a little bit. I'm going to start to say no to this one thing. I'm going to start to set myself up. So I know by next Monday, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And guess what? Not just I'm going to set myself up for Monday, but I'm going to set myself up for Tuesday when I get really tired or not in the mood, or when something else happens that I know that, because it always happens that, I'm going to get thrown off, and therefore I have to be able to bounce back. I'm going to set myself up for the bounce back. Those are the things we need to prepare ourselves. And the last but not least is you have to make rules for yourself. If you're not making rules for yourself, if you're not going to be setting up your own strategy and how you're going to succeed, then you're just not going to be able to do it. So for me, I have a schedule in terms of what it is I want to be doing when. What I'm going to do in the mornings and during my day, at nighttime, what am I going to be focusing on? Because once you're able to focus on that, once you're able to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to put on these rules. Like for me recently, I just put on a rule: no news before noon. No news. I wake up, I cannot look at the news or social media until noon. That's it. That's something that I know for me is going to help me be able to stay focused and stay productive. Because once I got into the news, not just I start binging it, I just start thinking about it all day. And because of that, it really hurts my productivity. So I know if I can get myself, and I want to be realistic with it, so I'm going to look at the news. But guess what? I'm honestly thinking I'm going to push it to 3 p.m. because it's just getting too much. But what we have to realize is, what is it we're going to be able to do to set ourselves up? So once we have this ability, then we can start to really make sure that things are going to be moving forward. And going back to the beginning where I talked about strategies in terms of waking up. So I have a whole YouTube video on this. So if you're interested in learning how to wake up earlier, understand that it starts the night before. Okay, number one is going to sleep at a normal bedtime. Right now, bedtime for me, 9:45. It's awesome. Never had that before. Bedtime, 9:45. Do I go to sleep around 10:15? Yeah. Guess what? But I go to sleep at 9:45. I'm in bed. Second thing you have to start doing, and I'm not saying you have to go to sleep at 9:45. You got to figure out what time is you. I'm not saying you have to go to do that, because then you'll be like, then I'm not doing this, Bennett. This is silly. No, you do you, but understand that you have to have a bedtime. Kids have a bedtime. Adults should have a bedtime as well. Second thing you need to be doing is you need to be mentally prepare yourself the night before that you're going to wake up. when I was speaking to this client of mine and he's trying to wake up for, at 8 o'clock the next morning. So his biggest thing was, I asked him, like, so when you go to sleep, do you know you're going to like snooze till 11? He's like, yeah, 100%. I'm like, that's where you're messing up. Because if you not set yourself up the night before, there's no way you're going to be getting up in the morning. And I know for me, if I start getting in my head the night before saying, I'm going to sleep late, or I have a big day tomorrow, I'm giving a presentation tomorrow, and therefore I'm not able, I need my energy. And I start like already rationalizing why I should sleep in. I know I'm done. So I have to stop that, and I can't let it happen. Second thing, the third thing is that once you wake up, you have to not think. There's no thinking in the morning. You just get up and go. No thinking for like the first 20 minutes of the day. Just go do your routine. The moment you get into your head, I remember there was one time I got up, ran to the bathroom, did the bathroom routine, got dressed and everything. And as I'm walking out of my bed, out of my room, I was like, I'm really tired. And I literally got undressed and went back into bed. I was up. I like brushed my teeth. I went to the bathroom, washed my face, got dressed, everything. And I literally went back into bed. Like, it is so powerful. Our brains are so powerful. We have no idea. But guess what? They can be powerful the other way as well. So what is it we're going to do? How is it we're going to get into this position where, you know what? I want to get out of this. I want to be able to do more. How can I take advantage of my life? How can I not let other people take advantage of my time? And I'm going to be able to focus and allocate it where I want to be focusing on. Let me know if you have any questions. This is like great stuff over here. And if anybody does have any questions, feel free to reach out, put in the chat, or DM me, and we'll see everybody on the next one. Peace out.